Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Brewing with Jim. My name is Joseph.
My name is Jim Brewington, and you're Joseph Jasper.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But this show is called Brewing with Jim.
We don't know the names of anybody who listens.
It's not called Jaspering with Joseph. That would be a worse name, an even worse name for a podcast, Jaspering with Joseph. What does that mean? Anyway.
Let's move on. What do we do here in this podcast?
This is a show where we get audience questions, and what we do, these questions come in about all parts of life: school, God, the Bible, family, relationships, work, and we try to provide wisdom, insight, or answers into them.
Yeah.
And today's question...
And most of the time, we actually achieve it.
Sometimes.
Yeah,
I would say so.
I think,
yeah. We don't get 135 episodes into this without doing that sometimes, I think. If we have consistently failed 134 times, then I don't think this episode would exist.
We've been talking into these microphones.
But this episode's question has to do with academia. The question is simple. What is the point of homework?
Now, who would ask that?
Who do you think is asking that?
I would imagine a student would be asking that.
I do believe so. I do believe that to be the case.
When I was in school, growing up, I'm talking about, primary school, I'm not sure we had a lot of homework, but secondary school for sure. It was to practice what we learned in class. And we would spend time, especially with math. Here is how you work this kind of a problem, the teacher would show us. And then we would talk about it a little bit, but not much. And then we would go home, and there would be homework in the textbooks, I think. Isn't that it? I had one teacher, an algebra teacher, who put all the homework on the board. I mean, the board was covered with solve these algebra problems. Well, we did that practice, and then we would come back, and first thing the teacher would say, and I'll just put this in parentheses after having observed many, many math classes and interpreting many math classes in college, at the college level. Wow. Math teachers tend not to greet the students. There's no how are you, or how was your weekend, or that they walk right up to the front of the room and say, are there any questions on the homework? And that was the only subject. I've asked some of the teachers that, and they just looked at me like, what are you talking about? Wow. But nevertheless, that's
fascinating.
That's
awesome.
Off the trail here. We practiced what we did. And then for history classes, we had to research some people, and by research, I mean you go to the library and use the encyclopedias. Yeah. We had an encyclopedia at the house to do that kind of homework.
Awesome.
My parents bought an Encyclopedia Britannica, 24 volumes, I think it was, and so I was privileged to use that. Although that was pretty haughty and the words were big and I didn't understand them all. Nevertheless, the purpose of the homework, as we were told, was to practice and to learn to research. And then sometimes we had to find out who Umpty Ump was in history, and we would have to come and report to the class. Other types of homework were read books and do book reports. And that was 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, that kind of thing. Yeah. Now, we have here at Capistrano Valley Christian Schools, we have a different approach to homework. And the homework is to be, look at the material that I am going to teach you, try to figure this out on your own, work the problems. In American Sign Language, look at the grammar and see if you understand it and try to figure it out. And there's some exercises in the book. It's all preparation for coming to class prepared.
Exactly.
And not to have so much homework that is just practice. Now, I don't know which of those is the greater value. I really don't know.
Sure.
But I can tell you that I, in my classes, do the best I can to reduce the amount of homework that students have. We have what seems like chronic fatigue syndrome in this school. All the students are tired, and they don't have time to rest. Some of that is their fault. They stay up longer than they should stay up.
Sure.
A lot of it is the school's fault. I would say.
Yeah.
We don't have any restrictions here at this school on how many extracurricular activities a student can participate
correct,
in.
yeah.
They can be in 2 sports and dramatic arts, which means that they're here for practices and rehearsals.
Yeah. That's more than a full-time job.
It's more than
when
a
you
full-time
put it all
job.
together.
And then they go home, and I guess they eat or grab something to eat.
Yeah.
And then they start on their homework and go to bed late.
Yes.
And then we start classes here at 7:50
Yes.
in the morning. And okay, I have a rule, a guideline, an axiom in my teaching, and here it is. I never have anything due or any quizzes on a Monday or the day they get back from a break.
Yep.
Because I believe strongly that weekends and breaks are for family and friends and rest. So I give them no homework during that. We also have, don't we? You probably know more about this than I do, Joseph, summer reading programs for the students to give them reading assignments during the summer.
That's right.
I'm not sure how I feel about that,
Sure.
what my opinion is about that. I tend to think, when do they get to rest?
Sure.
But I do assign homework. I do assign readings, and you can take notes on these readings, or you can highlight the handouts that I give you, and then we will have class discussion.
Right.
If you take notes and they're in your handwriting, you can bring the notes to the final. And that encourages doing that type of homework. But I let them work on it in class.
Yeah.
When I do that, it reduces the amount of their homework. But then again, you have to practice this language. You have to practice it outside of class. You must. So Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 30 minutes for ASL, 30 minutes. Not on Fridays because that's the weekend and that's when you rest. Do you see any other purpose for homework?
The paradigm that you laid out is actually exactly what I would have said. That there are typically 2 ways of viewing homework, or 2 kinds of homework, and they both have to do with an orientation of time. So you mentioned practice or preparation. Practice is inherently something that comes after a class period or a lesson or a concept or whatever. Preparation inherently comes before it. Those are 2 distinct ways of considering homework, whether it comes after the concept or before the concept.
Right.
There's no, I don't want to pretend that one is bad, one is good. Teachers can use both of those and deploy both of those as needed.
Yes.
I would say, generally speaking, it in my experience and at CVCS, we try to emphasize homework as preparation.
Yes, we do.
Being a setup for a class period. This comes from a belief that I believe strongly, and I know you would agree with as well, that time together in class, physical presence, physical attendance, interaction, conversation, discussion is so valuable.
I do agree.
That the heart of education occurs live, in person, together.
That's going to fly in the face of online classes.
It does. It totally does.
Yes.
And I am fine with that. I would argue that myself. As a teacher of
online... That this is, it's better to be in class. Yes.
I would argue as a teacher, I literally currently teach an online class, and I've taught online classes for the past 5 years, going back to COVID. I would make the argument that in-person classes are way better. That's not
agreed.
That's not really an argument. I think that I don't think most people are making an argument or would make an argument that an online class is beneficial, other than the ability for it to be rapidly scalable and deployable to like a ton of I could deploy an online class to like 100 kids at our school.
Well, we know that from experience.
Right. COVID
hit March 20th, 2020.
Yeah.
And I say hit. That's when we were informed
at
our school that there is a virus going around, and we are going to have online classes here, and it'll probably last, maybe 2 weeks.
Maybe 2 weeks.
Maybe 2 weeks.
And then those 2 weeks finish, and it goes, maybe another 2 weeks.
Yeah, or maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
And what happened was that I began to teach American Sign Language, which is a three-dimensional language. Now the students are looking at a two-dimensional screen.
Yep.
And we didn't really know how we were doing that. We started with everything was homework. Really, they were working at the home. But when we started that, we had Zoom meetings, and the students didn't get up, didn't get dressed. Many of them sat on their bed in their pajamas with the cat walking through, the dirty socks and underwear on the floor, and mom vacuuming in the next room.
Sure.
And that was our teaching environment.
Yeah.
And we got to the point where I remember one faculty meeting, one guy said, I don't really like teaching girls sitting there on their bed in their pajamas.
Yeah.
And so we notified everybody, let's change the protocol, let's dress it up a little bit literally.
Yeah.
And I came to, that was in March. At the end of April, I talked to the principal and I said, I'm stopping this. I'm stopping all the sign language classes. This can't be done. It's like taking swimming online.
Yeah.
How are you going to do that?
That's a great point. Yeah.
And so the principal said yes, and I stopped it. Well, then we had that continue a little bit longer next fall and so forth. Finally, the school just said, we're not doing any more online classes.
Right. We just got to
come
back.
We're done.
Yeah.
We're not going to do this.
Yeah.
So I'm just reinforcing and supporting your point that you've got to have this kind of the teaching experience happens in the classroom.
That's right.
Now, the classroom is not one size fits all and everybody can become educated in the classroom. That isn't the case. Some students need extra help. They need another environment. They learn in different ways and so forth. I think a teacher needs to be sensitive about the homework, though.
Totally.
I told you that I don't give anything due on Mondays or days returning from a break, and that came from when I was at Texas Tech University.
Yeah.
Most people who went to Texas Tech University came from somewhere outside of Lubbock, Texas, where Texas Tech University is, and it's a huge school. It's very large in population. It actually has the largest campus of any university in the world.
Wow.
And, that's because of the big agricultural school.
Land.
A lot of it's farmland. Okay. So I was in an English class, and we had to present a skit. And the skit was due on the day we got back from Christmas break. And what am I supposed to do? The people assigned, I was the leader of the group, and I had 4 or 5 people in the group, and they lived in different cities, and they were all gone, and I didn't know what to do.
It's not functional,
I pulled the skit off, but I did most of it myself.
Sure.
Okay. I decided then, if I ever was going to teach in a classroom, and that will never happen. I had no ambition to do that kind of thing. If I ever teach in a classroom, I would never have anything due on a Monday or a day people get back from a break, and I live by that.
Yeah.
Our colleagues here don't necessarily.
Sure.
They just don't. Yeah. But the purpose of the homework, this is a question I'd like to ask in a faculty meeting. What do you think the purpose of the homework is? But I think that it has both values. It does. Preparation and practice after the fact.
Yeah. There's also an argument to be made that homework, as we traditionally think of it, like practice, specifically as practice and just kind of rote repetition of what we do in class together, just to try to beat it into our students. But that should just die. That we just actually shouldn't assign that. And it depends on, I think, a few things. But, again, if you're going to emphasize the value of the in-person experience, let that be where kids learn stuff.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Let that be the epicenter of your of your time. And I would even say this: I have a way of thinking about like planning as a teacher, which is especially as I've gotten further in my career, I don't want to spend much more time planning a class period than the class period itself is. So
I'm not sure I follow that.
So if a class period is 70 minutes long,
yes,
in my head, I feel like I should be able to plan that in less than 70 minutes.
Okay.
Depends on the thing. It doesn't always work out. I would argue that homework should be the same way, that you should not be assigning more homework than, like, homework that takes more minutes than your class period does.
Oh, I see.
You know
okay.
what I mean?
I see.
I want the majority of time for your students to think about your class to happen in class.
If a student's taking 5 classes and they're all 70 minutes, hypothetically, and then they get 70 minutes of homework from
Each.
5 classes, their life is over.
It essentially doubles the school day.
It doubles the school day.
So
it does.
The school day is 6 hours as it is, or a little more. You know, they get home and they have 6 hours of homework. Like what?
Yeah.
That leaves
no, I'm
them,
opposed
you know what I mean?
to that.
Yeah. So as a paradigm in my head, it's like fewer than, you know, like obviously a paradigm in my head is like no homework / absolutely minimal homework. But I would think for almost any class, any teacher, you've got to have a maximum that you can.
I agree
set
with that,
yourself.
and I agree also strongly with your idea minimum homework.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of this idea.
Yeah.
Now, what do we do instead? Well, what I do, and I know some other teachers, our colleagues here do, is have groups of students do things in groups.
Sure.
For a language class, that's essential. Now, you're going to have a conversation. The 3 of you have this conversation and have it in American Sign Language, have it in Spanish, have it, and then they do that. There are math teachers here who have groups of students who get together and discuss how are we going to work this math problem that the teacher has put on the board. We have not received instructions how to do this.
Yeah.
We have to critically think. We have to creatively think and come up with something collaborated that we all are working on it.
That's the thing is like I fully believe that for any individual student, their classmates are their best assets. Like being in community, when they are in a classroom, the other students in the room, maybe even to sometimes beyond that of the teacher, the other students in the room are the most valuable pieces of their learning opportunities
Very
that
important.
they have.
Yes.
As opposed to a situation where you can imagine a teacher's job is just to have a bunch of one-on-one tutoring relationships. There's something special about a classroom with multiple students learning together, collaborating, making creative decisions, sharing opinions or arguments for or against things and so forth. Like that is all a part of this process. That when you assign homework and say, okay, go home, be by yourself, sit at a desk, and do this for X number of minutes, you're not actually utilizing the best resources that the student should have available to them.
It's such a valuable concept. Right? It is.
Yeah,
I agree. I don't know if I'm the choir or you are, but we're preaching.
It's okay.
We're preaching to each other.
I think we're singing the same song.
We are.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same song. Now, what do you think our role as teachers here at this school should be in convincing or at least presenting these concepts to teachers who don't hold those values?
Yeah.
I'm not sure they don't hold the values. I just know they don't have the practice because
That's right.
teachers, students will tell me,
yeah,
we're having a quiz on Thursday. I have 2 quizzes on Thursday. I have this to do. I have this to do.
Yeah.
What happens to me when I hear that, I'll change the time the quiz is going to, I'll move it.
Yeah. I would say 2 things are true. Number one, we do have to, as teachers, like we've had this whole conversation, de-emphasize homework, reduce the requirements put on students outside of class.
Yes.
Specifically things that are not meaningful, things that are not provoking like critical thinking, anything like I remember when I was in high school getting worksheets where it's like, this is your homework. And it's just like, copy the definition from the book and fill in the blanks. And it's just like rote, boring. It's not intellectually stimulating. It's junk. It's busy work. We have an obligation as teachers to reduce that kind of stuff.
I think so too.
On the other hand, I do want to say students can sometimes, believe it or not, dramatize their own workload. And
of course,
I don't want a student to come to you thinking, hey, if we complain about how many quizzes we have on Thursday, we can get Mr. Brewington to change his schedule and push it back. And so they come to you and they go, Mr. Brewington, we've got 2 quizzes on Thursday.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Well, we do have a system here where we can post our assignments and so that the other teachers know what we're doing and what the students are doing. I'm 100% behind that system, and I don't use it very well.
Sure.
So
that's fair.
there is
that's
that. I'll tell you one part of homework that I do not see.
Can I finish one thought real quick? I just want to say,
of course,
I think it is a cultural propensity in students, no matter how little homework you give them, to complain. It comes with, I think, the age. I think it comes with school culture. I think that it is a traditional, normal thing for students to kind of say that they hate school, whether they love it or not. You know what I mean? So there is an extent to which I bet we could, school-wide, we could eliminate homework. We could live in a homework-free utopia, and I think that students would still find reasons to complain.
Well, could be.
Because that is just kind of cultural,
yes,
in a sense, and because they would be stressed and depressed and burnt out by other things in life anyway. Social media and too many sports and extracurriculars, and you know what I mean?
Right.
So two things are true here. We should reduce homework, but also we have to tell a student, yeah, this is a lot. We have to be rigorous. Like, we can't reduce the rigor and the importance of students building up good work habits and being able to do a lot of work and push themselves and do hard things. That's what I wanted to wrap up.
There is one part of homework that I would eliminate immediately, and that is some of the projects that were assigned to me when I was in school.
Totally.
Why do I have to make a salt map of the exports of Peru? And what's that?
I can think of 100 good reasons.
Oh,
no.
I once was assigned. We had to carve out of a bar of soap the Alamo, and. So I did not do well on that, and I gave up, and I said, forget it, I'm not doing this. I had to make a cyclops one time, and the cyclops was you take a light bulb and you make it big with paper mache all around and put a rubber ball in the front of that and paint the face on and put the blood in the eyeball and the whole... What a waste of time
and material.
Yes.
This is an ecological disaster.
Bars of soaps don't grow on trees.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that I would get, but I don't know. We have projects here now. Art art students.
Sure.
When are they going to paint? When are they going to draw? When are they going to sculpt? When does all that take place? Probably a lot of it outside of class.
Sure.
And then I find on display in our hallways once in a while things people have, models that people have built. That's going to be outside of class thing. Is there value in that? My hands are in the air. I don't know if there is, but I think it might be minimal, even though the results are beautiful.
They're gorgeous. They're awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we've done it.
Let's
with
wrap
homework.
this thing up just for the sake of
I didn't do my
time.
homework on this topic.
I didn't do my homework
No,
either.
no.
Yeah, we neither practiced nor prepared.
No. But we produced.
We sure did.
Yes. Okay.
Let's go to the second segment. This is the surprise Jim segment where you don't know the question ahead of time. Jim, what's something about your wife Debbie that has always made you smile?
Oh my goodness, there are quite a few things really. One thing is her predominant salient characteristic is her sweetness.
Yeah.
And that has always been there. Now, is it always, can she become angry? Yes. Can she become
All of
grouchy?
us, yeah.
Yes. But she is one of the sweetest people I have ever known.
That's awesome.
And okay, there's that. What makes me smile? She is witty, and I am witty, or we're both half witty, and together we
We're fully witty,
and we joke a lot.
Yeah.
We don't tease each other.
Sure, no, yeah.
As in some relationships, guys do that with each other.
Sure.
But that makes me smile, and she says funny things, and we enjoy each other.
She's sharp. Yeah.
That way.
Yeah.
One thing that makes me smile is that every night she has a meal prepared. Mm-hmm. And the meal prepared might be Costco heat and eat, but it's still, I mean, you throw a twig on it and now it's garnished, and
That's right.
she just makes that beautiful. And but she's a good cook, and she's a creative cook. She complains to me, she mentions to me, I have to think up something for dinner every single night. And I'm saying, no, you don't.
Yeah.
You really don't. I'm fine if I don't eat.
Sure.
Or I could,
Sure.
I could snack. I'd be okay
Yeah.
with all of that. But that makes me smile when she has the dinner ready to go. And we usually eat the dinner on TV trays while we watch some game show or something, okay? And then we criticize the players and laugh.
We could do better than they.
Okay. Those are things that make me smile.
I love it.
There are her regard for children and caring for children makes me smile.
Yeah.
Her regard for animals, dogs especially, makes me smile. We have a good time, and we have two, and they are a pain, and they are a precious thing to have.
Yeah.
They're like children.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We both were grinning ear to ear last night because our son proposed and is now engaged.
Hey.
Proposed marriage.
Amazing.
And is now engaged to a girlfriend that he's had for like 5 years. And I told him several weeks ago, you didn't ask for this and it's not required, but you have my blessing. And Debbie did the same thing independently, and I didn't know that. And so it happened last night. We knew it was going to happen at sunset on the beach.
Oh, how exciting.
And so we're sitting there right after sunset, 10 minutes after sunset, looking at social media. Where are the pictures? Where are the pictures?
Yes.
Let's see the pictures. Debbie and I were grinning ear to ear. Well, that's impossible. But we were.
Sure.
We had broad grins. There are lots of things about her that make me smile.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. And you said yesterday, I think I heard you say 53 years you've been married?
We have been married 53 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a lot of smiles.
Well, we both.
Sure.
Yeah. A lot of smiles, a lot of tough times.
Sure.
We have had very, very tragic times
Absolutely.
in our marriage. And that puts a stress on the marriage. And you don't expect to smile through tragedies. And you don't expect to smile through some of the rough times. There are many people who just give up during rough times, give up marriages during rough times.
Right.
And we did not do that. Partially, I did not do that because I promised I wouldn't. And I took that promise very seriously. It was a promise before God. It was a promise before family. It was a promise before Debbie.
Yep.
And so 53 years, secret to a long marriage is just who is the best forgiver.
I love it. That's so good. That's so true. Yeah, thanks for sharing all that.
Okay, well,
let's wrap this thing up.
Thanks for the question, I think.
Of course. No, you're good.
Yeah, okay.
I think you're allowed to do that. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
There's no rules around here. We want to extend an invitation to our audience as we always wrap up our shows. There's an email address set up, brewingwithjim@gmail.com, that if you have your own questions or you just want to reach out to us in general, you can do that through email. It's brewingwithjim@gmail.com. With that, friends, we want to thank you again for listening, and we hope that you have a great week.
Yes, thank you for listening.
This episode has been a production of the Capistrano Valley Christian Schools Podcast Network. CVCS is a Christian TK through 12 school in San Juan Capistrano, California. Please visit cvcs.org/podcasts to listen to the variety of shows our students produce on our campus. You can also find all of our shows on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and others. We would also appreciate you subscribing to and leaving a review of this show and the other shows on our network in your podcast player of choice. If you have any questions or would like to reach out to us, please email podcasts@cvcs.org. On behalf of the school, this is Mr. Jasper, the executive producer of the podcast network. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned for more.